Hello and welcome to Dune Spice Wars Early Access. I'm Shadow Coast and welcome to the channel. In this video, we are going to review basic commands as well as basic resources in Dune Spice Wars. So, effectively, we're going to start a new playthrough. We're going to pick the smugglers because I like the smugglers. Now, picking your faction, you should pick the one you want to play, but just be aware of the different faction bonuses, different components, because each faction plays fairly different and has unique aspects, which makes this game fairly fun. So keep that in mind. When you're starting, you can pick 2 counselors. I do recommend that you read what attributes they give you, because this can influence your playstyle. So we're going to get Banerjee, which means that we're going to probably pillage more often than not, because we gain more Plascrete, as well as other resources. Then you can also see kind of the difficulty, like easy. I'm going to just pick reduces authority, depending on available water. So make sure you read the tooltips because they will have a really big impact. So we are going to focus on basic controls. We're going to probably play 5 or 10 minutes here. But before we do, I want to orient you to the UI. So starting left to right, on the left you have your missions. If you left click, it will open them up and you can read what you need to do. If you're starting, regardless of the campaign you're starting, make sure that you benefit and complete these missions because you get resources, which is very helpful. Up here, if you left click on your faction portrait, you can quickly see where you stand amongst the major houses, although we're the smugglers, 2 houses, and the freemen. Effectively, we are in a race to have the most hegemony to rule the planet. You can see the faction bonuses of each faction and kind of where they start and what they get. Up here, you can hover over your 2 counselors to see what they provide. Then you can see your spice. This is how much spice you have. This meter, if you hold left mouse button, you can go up and down. Basically, this is going to be what we call the imperial tax, because death and taxes are the only 2 consistent things in life or in the world. So you are going to pay taxes. You can allocate how much do I want to use spice, how much do I want to use Solari, which is your gold or your currency in the game. If you left click on this little spice report, it can tell you the remaining time that we have to pay, 25 days. You can see the exchange rate and then the previous rate once it's established, so you can kind of balance it out where if you're like spice is more valuable or less valuable, you can kind of determine your allocation. And then you can see the cost of an imperial bribe, which you can click here, where the Imperium kind of won't bug you as much. I'm actually have to play with the Imperial Bribe, so I'm not exactly sure how this mechanic works. Solari, this is your currency. You can build it or gain it through pillaging, building resource producing structures based off the villages or territories you own, etc., as well as completing missions. Plascrete. This is used to build different structures and maintain different structures. Manpower. This is used, not surprisingly, to manage your army or your manpower. So make sure you keep track of this because there are buildings that will add manpower. Fuel cells. Fuel cells are the main power source to use on Arrakis. They are used to operate vehicles such as your harvesters or ornithopters. So make sure you also produce fuel cells. Then we have water. Water is essential to life. There are structures we can build to create more water. Then there are other ways to impact your water utilization, and that will have different kind of effects. But make sure you manage your water. And finally, authority. This allows us to do different things, such as taking control of villages. So through structures and expansion, we're going to be balancing all of these resources up here that we just reviewed. So keep that in mind. That brings us to hegemony. Actions we take will build or potentially destroy our hegemony. We are on a race to 25,000 hegemony. So the key here is expand and take actions that will increase your hegemony and influence. We then have the date, and then that brings us to the control time. So if you on the numpad plus goes increases, minus on the numpad, and then spacebar pauses, or if you keep clicking minus, it will eventually go to pause. So keep that in mind. Options, this will open your options, your ability to save. Then we have our factions. So you can click here, open the faction interaction panel. You can create trade agreements for different things based off your resources, etc. You can do research agreements, non-aggression pacts, and then military pressure eventually. Operations, you can quickly track your missions and operations and their progress by hovering over them. As you unlock it, this tree developments will open up your basically R&D branch. They call it knowledge. We use knowledge. Landstrat Council was smugglers. We have a limited kind of insight, but when we open this up, you can create votes and use influence to pass resolutions that'll impact the game. And then we have espionage. As we gain agents, we can assign them to tasks, generate intel, leverage that intel to launch different missions. Finally, we have units. To build units, you have to left click and then kind of select, or if you just left click ornithopter, it'll build it, etc., etc. So we're going to go ahead, for the purposes of this video, create a scavenger and a wrecker and get started. A few other commands. M will take you to the tactical map. Left wheel mouse button, or if you use your middle mouse wheel, wow, you can zoom in and out, including going to the tactical map, which is helpful. On the tactical map, you can see different things like resources, villagers, scouting, armies, airfields to basically pick up and move different units so you don't have to worry about them getting eaten by the sandworms. You do need to build airfields to be able to do that. Other commands, Control S is save, game saved, which is helpful. If you use WASD, that takes you around the map. You cannot rotate the camera angle to my knowledge after spending 30 minutes trying to figure that out. So if you can figure it out somehow, please post in the comment section if I'm just missing something obvious. I did review all the controls from that standpoint. They're going to be kind of different overlays. So I will tell you wind. Wind is important because the more wind you have, the better you can generate water from windmill water generators, etc. So let's go ahead and throw this into high gear, and we're going to cover some basics of playing the game. So first off, to secure an area, you need to send your ornithopters out to identify villages to take or objects to interact with. The best thing to do on your ornithopter is just do auto recon mode. That is what I recommend. We have our 2 units that we built. You do have to build units because you can't attack anything without building them. We're going to go head over here and take Har Boo. Here we can see they have a ranged militia and a not ranged militia. So we are going to um, take them out. This should be a relatively easy fight. Oh no, we gotta move on to concrete area because we saw the worm. We had a sandworm detected. I think we should be okay on the rocks, hypothetically. Alright. Now that we've killed the militia, we have some decisions to make. Because this has spice and is our first one, we have to take control, which I recommend doing. When you take control here, you can see that this will cost us 5 water, um, and then 38 authority. That's okay. Let's get cracking. And we can now see because we've annexed this village, we are down water, and we only have 9 water left. Similarly, authority is kind of a one-time use, which is kind of nice. We don't have to worry about maintaining it. Villages cost water, but give you control of the surrounding region and come with several building slots to help you with your expansion. Research is open. We'll take a look at research. So how do we build? If you left-click on the village you've acquired, if you left-click on militia, you can purchase militia. I recommend having a couple of militia in your outer towns that are going to be attacked. So we're just going to throw one on here for now. Over here in buildings, if you left click, you can select different buildings. So there are 3 branches: economy, military, and statecraft. So you can see that different ones do different things. So this will give us knowledge, influence, intel, and then hegemony once we get further upgraded. Over here we have recruitment office, which creates manpower, so that's how we expand manpower. We have that airfield I talked about, transporting troops. Missile battery, which we can install, that's defense. And then military base, which augments our power to ally military units in the region. Over here we can build a refinery, spice silos. So these we cannot build because we're not in the spice field. So I need my ornithopter to come over here because I thought this was the spice field, and over here it is not the spice field. So we're gonna go find the spice field over there. So as we do that, we can also build plasticrete production, fuel cell production, water production, and maintenance centers. I recommend having a maintenance center in every couple of areas because it can influence this in an allied region up to 1. So now that we have this one, we are going to take this area so we can build spice, which is critical. For this building, we're going to start with we are going to build some water to maintain water. When you take over a village, you have 2 building slots, and then you can add a building slot using plasticrete. So that's something we want to keep in mind. Oh no, run over here. We're going to get eaten by the worms. There we go. So while we can sack this and gain resources, we're going to actually acquire it. And you can see that acquiring it will take out more water, villages, annexations. This is, I guess, technically an annex where we have an actual village, which is helpful. So new villages cost water but give you control of the surrounding region and come with several building slots. Make sure you have enough militia or nearby troops to defend your village. That's good to know. So we're going to go ahead and build a refinery real quick. We can expand our building slots using plasticrete. The other thing we're going to build after water is plasticrete production, so we don't run out of plasticrete to build stuff. So we're going to just kind of speed ourselves along here. We can sell spice for Solari. We can also send our ornithopters. Okay, so let's talk about research and development, which we should be doing. We have 4 branches: intelligence, authority, village stuff, building stuff, and military. I want to unlock the sniper unit, and I want to unlock combat drones. So I'm going to build those 2 first. You can decide how to synergize it, but I really like having a mix of like 2 scavengers, a wrecker, a sniper, and a combat drone, and we can basically crush everybody with that for smugglers. But it's up to you. You can kind of decide. So there are limited units. It makes the micro fairly easy. Raid detected. So there's going to be a raid over here. So we're going to kind of come over here, and we're going to blunt their raid. We also have our militia. So our militia's coming out and attacking. Alright, we finally stood up our harvester. So if we click on our harvester, we can add crew or dismantle it. So if we add crew, it's going to be more efficient and we can deploy it. I recommend clicking on auto recall because basically if it detects a worm, it's going to recall itself. So this severely impacts your spice production because they kind of, you know, get the heck out of there a lot quicker than normal. But that's okay in my opinion because I'd rather keep my harvesters alive than not. We're going to go ahead and take a look here. So for different pieces, we can do different things. So normally you have 2 options. If we send an ornithopter to investigate, we're going to get plascrete. We're probably going to do that. But then in different ones, we can do different things. So just take a look and make your decision based off kind of what you need and what you want to do. I'm fine right-clicking here. And we have like a huge sandstorm, which is a little scary. We're fighting over here. I'm just making sure we can see the sandworms over here, so we're gonna move onto the rocks. And we're gonna straight up pillage this one. So now that the ornithopter's done its thing, or if you have a military unit do it, you have to click on it again and then resolve to get your bonus. So we got our bonus, which is good. We're going to unlock another building slot by clicking plus 100. And we are going to build manpower. Over here, we're going to build a... what do I want? I'm going to build a missile barracks because I don't want to lose this area. Between that and you can see the kind of area that it covers, which is nice. So those are the basic commands. We've reviewed how to kind of auto-explore, clicking. We sack this. We cannot attack it again until it recovers. We covered kind of the basic commands. I don't think I'm missing anything obvious. Trade request. Let's see. They send spice. We send. All right, I'll take some spice. All right. Yeah, I'm trying to think. Is there anything obvious I'm missing? This is supposed to be a basic tutorial on how to play. I'm not getting into some of the advanced mechanics at all. I think we've about covered it. Oh, just make sure when you get this, confirm it and claim it. Claim your reward by left-clicking on it. We've covered research there are different impactful components. You can click up to 3 in a row that you want. So like the one you're researching, the next one, and the one after, which is nice. So if you want to tee up 3 to go by faster. We did get to the Landstrat Council. We're gonna probably not, well, 2 days. Let's speed it up here. By the way, I'm gonna add my sniper.
I'm all ears.
You guys just go attack that. One day. We have unlocked espionage. So we can see agent produces different resources. This will be kind of important. So you can see the production for what they can do. So effectively, we have a few options. Our agents, we can apply to different areas. So counterintelligence, we can gain or infiltrate the different enemy houses, or we can assign them to different areas here that are going to produce different resources. So you can see here we have intel produced. Kind of looking at this authority 1, authority 1. Siege detection speed is kind of nice, so I'm going to pick that one. I'm going to assign you over here, and they're going to be producing these resources to flow through, which is nice. So let's keep going. Trying to keep the days moving. We're going to take, we have military units, so we're going to take that. Alright. We're going to see. Just make sure you watch for worms. Alright, so for the siege, we can kind of support different things. So we're going to say infrastructure control. Now, sometimes we can have what we call votes. We can assign our votes down here. We can't do that as smugglers, at least not yet. So let's see how long this takes. 6 days. That's a long video. Let's run through it. We're going to take this area. We're going to need water. So we're going to produce. So over here we can see plus 50% plascrete factory. So that plascrete factory is better than this one. We're going to click on this, and we're going to right click to demolish this plascrete factory. And in lieu of that, we are going to build a fuel cell producer. Now, we now are losing plascrete. So let's, oh, that's not what I want to do. Boom. There we go. Producing plascrete. Wind traps. So wind strength 3. That's okay. Wind strength 2. Wind strength 3. If we look at the region, we can see the wind strength 4. So we're going to want to capture this and put some water into it. Alright, so we can use influence to vote. Other factual gain per vote on smugglers on this resolution. So we're going to apply. We have 84 influence that we've gained. So we're going to vote on this one. We're going to kind of leave it. See what happens. Building will end in 4 days. Let me see here. They're attacking. Oh snap, they are attacking. So we're going to need to repel. I guess our okay. We're gonna go ahead and do a wind trap once we get there. We can afford it, so we're gonna just get all 3. Alright, that is well defended. Alright. So it is difficult with the smugglers. We don't have a lot of influence in the Landstrad, so not much we can do here. We can kind of use our influence to try to get some better stuff. Later on, it will pay dividends. The other thing to remember is you're going to have to redeploy or keep deploying your spice harvester. So do not forget to do that. We're going to capture this area, and then we're going to call this an episode. These are basic controls. A little longer video than I expected to make, but I wanted to kind of cover some of the basics and show some of the gameplay. We'll create one. Oh, we don't have enough water, so we're just going to sack it. We'll create another video on more advanced controls or concepts. If you want to see that, please make sure to drop a thumbs up and comment. If I missed anything from a basic overview, please also comment. I've spent 6 hours in the game, so by no means do I know everything. Thank you so much for watching and hope to see you in future videos. Shadow Coast out.